Well, Mike, thank you for joining me today. So, just kind of tell me a little bit about how we first started working together and how your overall experience has been.
So I first started seeing some of the stuff. I guess I should start and kind of back up. Saw you on Instagram, and I actually played at Mizzou with your brother for a year, but kind of saw some of the posture therapy stuff through Connor Ash and T Dill reposting it, and kind of like piqued my interest because that's something that like I know I have bad posture and some like exercises that I've been kind of working on myself before that.
Mhm.
Um, so sent you a message and like kind of actually like started to like dive into it and seeing some of the posts about guys getting results and like even if it was just like body feeling or also like getting some velo out of it or performance, like that's just a plus. But I knew that that was something that I could improve on. And then so we set up the call and kind of went from there.
Absolutely. So, dude, at some point, Mizzou's gonna have to put me on staff with how many of the former Mizzou guys I've got. But as far as kind of what some of those things that you were initially looking to work on, what were those things that you were hoping to improve?
Yeah, my hips have always been not like red flags, but never been like good by any means. And then T-spine's always been pretty rough for me. And I've had some shoulder issues in like the past 2 years, but I know that that's from like stuff's tight in the front, causing like the rounding and everything. So trying to get those to sit back and like strengthen those back muscles so that things are a lot more balanced. And I also have always had low back pain since I was probably in grade school. I went to a chiropractor when I was little, and he's
Mhm.
like, "It looks like you've been in a car crash." So I don't think I was that I'm aware of, but I've just always had back pain, and it's come up on the mound, and I know that I kind of dump going to like low back extension
Mhm.
really early in my delivery, and that's something that kind of affects me on the mound.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as the shoulder issues that you were talking about, what were those shoulder problems?
Impingement, and then when I did an MRI 2 years ago, they said there was labrum tearing, but that's kind of common for pitchers to have some, and I guess it's just like a matter of if it bothers you or not.
Yeah.
But coming back this year, and they just classified it as a shoulder impingement. It was the exact same feeling in terms of like where it hurt, when it would get tight, and all that, just a little bit to like a lesser extent. So I would say that the one before was a shoulder impingement too.
Okay, gotcha. So as far as the things that we kind of did to clear up the low back pain and the shoulder, what were those kind of steps that we took?
It was a lot of like strengthening, like almost like around it. I obviously don't know how the whole anatomy stuff works. But it was a lot of like I've learned the body kind of works in almost like cause and effect, kind of like the pitching motion. If you're set up in a better spot elsewhere, that's going to leak into your low back or your shoulder. Like it's usually not where the pain is 100% of the problem, you know? So
Absolutely.
we worked on the hip flexor strengthening. And then for the like the chest and shoulders. We worked on some of those like low trap, those back muscles, those smaller, for me, weaker ones, trying to strengthen those. And then also just like general hip mobility, just with some different exercises than I had ever done personally.
Yeah, so as far as kind of how long it took for you to start feeling or seeing these results that we were working towards, how long did that kind of take you to get there?
I would say I started feeling better 2, maybe 3 weeks max. It really like kind of kicked in quickly, which was really shocking to me. I was expecting to go, a month or two, just kind of putting in that work before I saw any sort of progress because I was the guy who I've hammered out hip rollovers and T-spine windmills probably more than anybody else out there and see very marginal gains or any sort of like progress in that. But
Mhm.
after like actually going through 2 to 3 weeks of this, low back felt a lot better. Shoulder would feel better on a day-to-day basis. And then those days where it was kind of cranking a little bit, took a little bit more to get going. Like after I would do my exercises and then go throw, it felt 100% better.
That's awesome to hear. So I want you just to kind of describe a little bit of the difference of what you and I have done together than maybe some of the other things that you've done. Because I know you've done a lot of different things like DNS, physical therapy, chiropractic, and some of these other things. So, how do you feel like this differs and also pairs really well with those other things that you're doing?
It seems like it's just like a whole body approach, and also is personalized. For me, like a personalized program is like the number one sign of somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Anybody can take these exercises that work for one person and go give them to 100 other people. And 99 times out of 100, that's not going to work for the whole bucket of people that you're working with.
Mm.
Um, so I think that like looking at the whole body and then how I was kind of talking about that like cause and effect method of like working on the stuff around that to put the hips in a better position, to let the shoulders sit a little bit more neutral, really helped me a lot. I had never done like an entire body warm up, stuff like that in terms of like I call them correctives, but like for the exercises. And I think that it really pairs well with the DNS because it kind of helps me to get that body in a good position and then take it into those exercises so that I know when I'm doing those, working on serratus, low trap, all that stuff, that like stuff is lined up, stuff is firing properly, and I'm getting like 100% out of those exercises.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking more so to what your goals are for this year, I know that we've kind of talked about getting back to the big leagues and being able to get there. So what do you feel like are the couple of things that you need to do to get you over the hump from being a AAA guy to being consistently in the bigs?
Performance wise, for me, it's always been velocity. I've been a command guy and have some unique shapes with my pitches. So that like pitch design part is usually pretty locked in for me. And I fill up the strike zone. I don't walk a ton of guys. I don't hit a ton of guys. So not giving up those free bases, but just like raising that floor to get rid of those 88s, 89s and be 90, 91 to 93, 94 is kind of my goal. And
Mhm.
that's where I think that I can get back up to the big leagues and hopefully stick around a little bit longer. And then also like just being healthy and feeling good. Like the season is so long and like I've usually been a starter and that
Mhm.
wears on you. You know, usually come August, come September, like you are just like waiting to get to the finish line. Like when is when is this gonna go? As opposed to like feeling good all the way through and like playing your best baseball at the end
Mhm.
when it like truly matters and like teams are starting to like be in the playoff hunt maybe so they're moving more guys up just the hot hand we're going to go with kind of thing. So like having a good full healthy season I think is a really big piece for me as well.
Absolutely. When was the last time that you think that you were able to go through a season at the full intent that you wanted to be able to get out of yourself?
Um, I want to say 2021. I don't think I had any injuries or anything like that.
Mhm.
I haven't had a ton of like stints where I've been on the IL, stuff like that. So it's I've been lucky with that, but I would say 2021 and then 22 and 23 and also 24, like you kind of hit those points, but it seems like they just like kind of compound or like stuff lingers and keeps coming back because hadn't fully fixed the problem.
Yeah, so it wasn't taking you off the field, but it was hindering the performance that you were able to put out onto the field trying to fight through those things.
100%, yeah. 22 and or 23 and 24 had where I had to miss time and everything, but like 22 and some other years before that was just like, you know, you got that month or two where you're just dragging and like you got to power through.
Mhm.
And most people have those, you know, but like being able to get yourself to be back to 100% at some point or like fix those problems right when they start rather than letting them get bigger and become like a thing that bugs you, you know?
Yeah, because then you got to spend your whole off season focusing on this thing where you're not really able to take those same steps forward that you wanted to.
Or you start changing your mechanics, and then it kind of leads into the performance aspect of it. You know, you start compensating elsewhere, and that's never a good thing, especially when you're in competition. Could affect command, could affect velo, pitch shapes, whatever it may be. But
Mhm.
like whenever you feel not 100% and you have to try and make up for it elsewhere, that usually not a good plan for success.
Yeah, no, no, not at all. So, last question for you, Mike. As far as kind of what you would say to somebody who's on the fence about making posture a part of their routine, what would you kind of say to somebody to let them know why or why this might not be something that would benefit them?
I mean, the people that I see, like I would say most people have bad posture nowadays. We're constantly hunched over on our phones, looking at the computer. You got those long bus rides in the minor leagues and you're just hunched over trying to get a little bit of sleep and stuff like that. So like I would bet it will work for 90+% of people out there. But it's just like it's something that for me I never thought about as like a possible solution for the longest time. Like it really can help you because like if you think of it, your body was made a certain way in order to move and maximize your force and all of that. So I think that just like taking like a honest look in the mirror of like, okay, where can I get better? You know, it's not always only the weight room, only nutrition, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of pieces that make up the big puzzle in the grand scheme of things. So if you've had some injuries in the past or like your arm constantly starts bugging you at a certain point in the year, like it might be a good option for you. And then just kind of like do your research and look into it and then set up a meeting, make a call and just like hear them out. Like worst case, you say no, but like there's plenty of information out there that like backs it up. And I really do think that it can help a majority of the people out there.
Absolutely, dude. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a big league stadium this year. I'm making the trip out.
I'm hoping so, man. That's the goal. Get back up and stick around a little bit longer.
Just make it in Chicago. Make it convenient for
I'll try to. Yeah, we'll see if I have any say in that.
I'll fly somewhere. I'm gonna come
Sure.
see it, dude. But I'm really excited to see kind of the progress that we continue to make moving forward and the strides that you're able to make this off season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the help.
Absolutely, man.